Hello everyone, I'm back again with another tutorial. And this one I thought maybe we'd just have a little bit of fun. With Halloween right around the corner, I thought maybe I would show you how to create a jack-o'-lantern. So first I'm going to flood fill with black, and I'm going to go down here immediately to the freehand pen tool. Just make sure you select it from the list if it isn't already selected. And we're going to set a color to orange because pumpkins are orange. And we want to make sure that shape layer is selected, and it is. So we'll just draw a basic pumpkin shape on here. Kind of flattish on the bottom. Nice big round sides here. And right to the top there. And it flood fills with the orange color. We'll go down here to layer effects. And we're going to add some depth to that, of course, by using 3D effects. Turning off the link between these two, we're going to go up to make it sort of roundish looking, and just a little bit more on the depth. And we'll change the lighting angle to this side, slightly up and off to the side like this. That looks pretty good. Now we're immediately going to add a new layer above that one. And I'm going to select my brush tool here. I have a size 16 and it's a hard edged brush. I'm going to put it back on black, and I'm just going to draw some lines on here. Add some quick lines because you know pumpkins have these sort of ridges on them. Like this. And we'll go like this here. And like this. Now, because it's on its own layer, we can go up here to Effects and Blur and Gaussian Blur. And we're going to blur that, and it won't affect the rest of the pumpkin. We just click up here around, well, let's say, I'm going to say about 9. Yeah, 9 looks good. We're going to click on that. And then we're going to go back to Layer Effects as soon as that's done drawing. I'm going to click on that. And this is sort of a little trick to circumvent having to actually painstakingly draw pixel by pixel, you know, the depth of the ridges by adding highlights to the edges and shadows to the other edges. All we really need to do is with this layer selected, the one with the lines, we're going to choose bevel and emboss. And we're going to choose the style of pillow emboss. You can see that already makes something that looks like ridges. We're going to change the color to sort of a light orange, the highlight color to light orange, and take the opacity all the way up. Take the opacity on the shadow side all the way up also. And now we're going to take the depth down just a bit and the blur up. See what that does? It makes it actually look like they're carved right into the pumpkin. I'm going to go up just a tiny bit more maybe, like that. Don't worry about these remnants here at the bottom. We're going to erase those after we merge the layer. And that's good for right there. We're going to say OK. And we are now going to turn off this bottom layer. And we're just going to go up here and say merge visible. That puts these together. Turn our background back on. And now you can use the eraser tool to get rid of some of these remnants. And don't worry if you nick the bottom of the pumpkin, because no pumpkin is perfect. So, in fact, it actually may look a little better to nick right in those grooves, just to make it look more realistic. Like that. I'm going to cut a little bit more of this point off here. Okay, it's kind of roughish like that's what we're looking for. Okay, and we have a nice top on this pumpkin. Now, of course, you can leave it the way it is, add a stem, and then you would just have a pumpkin, which is okay too, but we want to put a face on this pumpkin. So let's get started on putting the face on this pumpkin. I'm going to add another layer, of course, for the facial features, and I am going to have my paper. I'll keep the hard edge brush, that's okay. And I'm going to probably increase the size a little bit. Probably not that much. No, not that much either. Let's go down about 20 maybe. That's probably good. And we're going to just do a traditional pumpkin with triangular features. So let's just draw some triangles on here. Triangles like this and like that. Wipe out this inner part. Just like that. And then we are going to duplicate that layer, since we don't want to have to do that twice. And we're just going to flip this one. Flip the layer horizontally, and then we're able to just drag it over here to be the eye for the other side. Now, we're going to go back to the first eye, and we're going to say FX again. And this time we're also going to use Bevel and Emboss and Pillow Emboss. Pen up there and check that color again. We're going to make it sort of a more yellow color this time though. And we're going to say OK to that. And we're going to change the blur. We're going to change the angle of the light to the inside like this. I think that was pretty good, up nice and high like that. It looks pretty good. Take the depth up here a little bit. And we'll say OK to that one. And we'll essentially do the same thing to this eye. By Bevel and Emboss. Change the color again to a sort of yellow color. Make sure that's up and that's up. And the angle of the eye is inside, and the depth is up, like that. Or we could change it to the other side, make it look like, yeah, we can see the inside edge and this inside edge, like that, and that looks pretty good. We're going to duplicate one more time for the nose, like this. Drag that nose down here. And we're going to shrink it up a little bit using the deform tool, like this. And we're even going to rotate it a little bit, like that. Okay. We're going to change the effects for that. Simply by changing the angle of the light, I'm going to go more toward the top like this, so that it looks like kind of like that. Close enough. It's supposed to be a Pillow Emboss. I thought I had changed that. Sorry about that. Let's go back to the others and see if I screwed them up too. It's supposed to be a Pillow Emboss. And no, this one's also not Pillow Emboss. That one's Pillow Emboss. And the first one. The first one is Pillow Emboss. Okay. Now all we need is one more layer on here. And we're going to take this We're going to draw a nice jaggedy mouth. Like this. And then we're going to flood fill inside of there like that. Try to get rid of all these little remnants here. Like this. And like this and this. The weird little face. And once more. We're just going to add the bevel and emboss. Pillow emboss. With the color yellow. That. And up that a little bit. Not quite that much, more like that. I'm going to say okay to that. Let's reduce the size of that a little bit. Like this. And we'll just move it up some. Like that. Now I'm going to go back to my pumpkin layer. And we're going to add just a little bit of 2D bump mapping to this. So we have to turn on 3D effects. We'll just take these down to the bottom. Well, that doesn't really matter. We can leave the depth one up some. I think we need to. And we're going to turn on 2D bump map. We're going to click this button and just choose something random and bumpy like this one. We're going to turn the curvatures down and the depth down some. And we're also going to change the scale down some. And that just gives us sort of a rough appearance to the flesh of the pumpkin. And then we're also going to add another layer here, right above that one. And that's going to be for our stem. And we're going to take the magic wand tool. We're going to select the stem, and then we're going to go to the gradient fill tool, and I'm going to choose up here the black to transparent fill. And in that way, I can put a shadow on this. I don't like that. Just find just the right kind of shadow. I think we're using too much black, so we're going to undo that. Go back in here, change the black to, say, a dark green, very dark green, like this. And we'll say okay to that, and try that on for size. That's kind of nice. We'll go with that. Select, deselect it, and we'll add a little bit of depth to it too. Turn on 3D effects. A little bit of roundedness to it. Like that. Gonna add a drop shadow to it also. Put that off there. change the blur on that. So it just casts a little shadow on the top. And there you have it. A jack-o'-lantern fit for Halloween. Happy painting, everybody.